Hey, we're back with another mini message, and we're picking up in Genesis 34 with verses 13 through 17. Now remember that Shechem and Hamor have come making a proposal. You can marry our daughters, and your daughters can marry our sons. You can live in the land. It'll be great. Just let my son marry Dinah after he raped her. This all sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Now, Jacob's sons have some different ideas. Listen to verse 13. It says, "But since Shechem had defiled their sister Dinah, Jacob's sons responded deceitfully to Shechem and his father Hamor. They said to them, 'We couldn't possibly allow this because you're not circumcised. It will be a disgrace for our sister to marry a man like you. But here's a solution. If every man among you be circumcised like we are, then we will give you our daughters, and we'll take your daughters for ourselves. We will live among you and become one people. But if you don't agree to be circumcised, we will take her and be on our way.'" So they are going to agree to this. Now, circumcision was the sign of the covenant in the Old Testament. That was what God commanded of Abraham. And it was something that other cultures did practice to some extent. So it would not have been a practice that the people that Hamor is leading would not have heard of, known about. So they agreed to this. They knew this practice from some other nations. And they used the phrase, it would be a disgrace for our sister to marry you. So Simeon and Levi here have evil intentions with their plans. You can see it clearly. It says deceitfully. They responded deceitfully. So they've got evil intentions here. And they use Dinah as cover for their intended evil. They act like everything's fine. They use spiritual words. You take the sign of the covenant. You become like us. We'll become one people. It'll be great. And they felt justified here because of what had happened to their sister. They felt like she had been used, but then they used the sign of God's covenant for their own purposes. It was not the reason. It was not the way. It was not how the sign was intended by God. It was a gross misuse of God's intention for the sign of the covenant with the family of Abraham. Now, they were correct in opposing the end view here of mixing these groups and becoming one people. They were right about that, but they were wrong in adopting the means they selected with this deceit. Now, let me ask you this. Where do you think these boys learned to be deceitful? Remember Jacob previously? Go back to Isaac? Go back to Abraham? This is a family that has struggled with deceit over the generations. And so we've seen Abraham be deceitful, we've seen Isaac be deceitful, we've seen Jacob be deceitful, and now we're seeing his sons. 4 generations. They learned it well. And it's something you see in this patriarch family is deceit. And it's going to continue. It'll continue throughout this generation and even some of the generations to come. But we'll talk about that another time. See you soon.